Hello there, it is Thursday, June the 22nd. I'm WPRC First Alert Chief Meteorologist Wes White out of Birmingham, Alabama, giving you an update on the weather situation out there and across the country. This is the view from space today. Visible satellite image. We have a disturbance that's carved out over the eastern U.S. We have a trough. You can see that here in the wind pattern, or the cloud pattern, I should say. You can see we have the trough back in this direction, and this is what has brought a lot of scattered shower and storm activity to the southeast. We also have a ridge that's developing across the mid portion of the country, and this is where we are dealing with the heat. In fact, you get on the western part of this ridge, we've had some of those storms that have grown severe. We saw the damage out of Matador, Texas with the tornado yesterday, and the Texas Panhandle past couple of weeks, that has been a very active zone with all this severe weather that's been happening. Just looking at the Storm Prediction Center outlooks for today, you can see the convective outlook showing the level 2 out of 5 risk for severe weather includes Denver. You probably saw there was some reports of concert there out at the Red Rocks where there was a severe storm and large hail, and folks had to seek shelter. There's been some big storms there, big hail producers. That's a concern. Also off of just east of Charlotte, you can see there along the coast of the Carolinas dealing with an elevated risk of severe weather, and that risk is marginal down into Florida, but it's certainly non-zero. Tomorrow, that severe weather risk becomes more enhanced, shifting into parts of Nebraska. You can see South Dakota there. Day 3, what we're looking at is that risk moving closer to Omaha and starting to push in towards portions of the Midwest. Notice across the Deep South, we're seeing the coverage of storms on the decrease. Let's get into what's happening right now across our region, and you can see that the wet weather is still kind of scattered. Especially across Alabama, the coverage has thinned out compared to yesterday. There's a couple severe storms down into South Georgia, a severe thunderstorm warning there just north of Valdosta. You can see that storm, likely what we're dealing with. Again, large hail, some damaging wind gusts, and we have some very strong storms lining up and pushing offshore. There's a big fishing tournament happening off the coast, and hopefully folks there are safe out there over the open waters. You can see there's some big-time storms lining up, moving south. And sometimes you have to kind of watch boundaries like this, especially during hurricane season, because the longer you get these storms that kind of stay in this area, I've seen many times, especially this time of the year, you can get a tropical disturbance that tries to materialize. But no evidence of that happening just yet, but just something to mention there as those storms move south. But big lightning producers right now over the state of Florida. You can see they're moving across central Florida, severe storms. Around, well, now they're east of Orlando, but pushing in towards Daytona Beach, Edgewater area, but moving from west to east across the state of Florida. So that's what's happening across the region. This high pressure ridge that's back to the west, you can see how these storms, you can always find what we call the ring of fire or the edge of that upper level ridge based on where you get these little, what we call mesoscale convective systems, these clusters of storms. But you can see it's riding right around that high pressure ridge there, but more strong storms they're pushing across parts of Texas and into the state of Oklahoma. I want to show you the forecast radar for folks here in Alabama. And first off, just looking ahead to tomorrow, you can see that the coverage of rain, it will be quite isolated, especially for areas to the east there, and the rain chances will back off over the next couple days. And we still have a little bit of rain that we're tracking moving south. This will continue through about 8, 9 o'clock. You can see by 11 o'clock tonight, we will be dry for this evening. And then it looks as though we get into the weekend by Friday and Saturday, very little rain that we're seeing showing up there in the forecast maps. Let's get an update on what's happening in the tropics. And right now, we are tracking a new tropical depression that has formed. First off, we have Brett. And what we're seeing with Tropical Storm Brett is going to encounter some wind shear. So we expect this system to really struggle here. And it's moving for a tropical system. It's moving rather quickly west at 14 miles per hour. So that's another sign of a system that's just not really, a lot of times when they gain strength, they'll slow down. But the forecast parameters show this moving into a harsh environment with respect to the wind shear. So that should weaken this system with time. You can see just where it's positioned there on Saturday, 7 p.m. just north of there's Jamaica. Had someone that reached out on Facebook and said, Wes, I've had this vacation plan. We're flying out this weekend. We're going to Jamaica. I wouldn't cancel my plans based on what we're seeing with Brett right now as that system. It looks to stay more on a westerly course. Let me show you the other system. This is now Tropical Depression number 4, and this may become a tropical storm, but it's also forecast to make a turn to the north. So you can see by 7 a.m. on Tuesday, that system could quite possibly be a weakening depression off to the east of the Bahamas. So both of these kind of moving that way, right? They're kind of moving in opposite directions, moving away from the Gulf of Mexico. But it's early in the season. It's kind of interesting to see two deep Atlantic systems like this moving towards the U.S. You know, typically you get late into the hurricane season in August. You'll see those types of tropical cyclones that start way out in the eastern Atlantic, those easterly waves. They gain strength, and then they can track across the entire Atlantic. A good example of that's Hurricane Ivan. That moved all the way across the Atlantic. A lot of times this time of the year, we'll see development start off in the Caribbean, in the Gulf of Mexico region. But you know, you don't necessarily need a tropical system for it to become a powerful major tropical system. It doesn't necessarily need to travel across the entire Atlantic. Just always remember Hurricane Katrina. In a matter of 3 days, that thing went from a weak tropical system to a Category 5. So they can rapidly intensify as long as they are out there in those favorable conditions, and that's why it's important to always stay alert on tropical systems just in case things change. So let's talk weather, the changes going into the weekend and what we can expect. And for all my viewers in Alabama, one of the big things is going to be the drier conditions that will materialize over the next couple days. Not completely dry. I mean, there's going to be a few isolated afternoon pop-ups with the heating of the day. But this high pressure ridge that you see back to the west, that's going to build our way. So one of the next big things for us will be the building heat. We'll have high temperatures closer to 90 degrees for the weekend, which means with all the rain that we've had, the higher dew points and the mugginess, the heat index will likely top 100 degrees. So that's what we're going to be seeing over the weekend. Hot, humid, highs near 90, lows near 70, isolated afternoon storms. It sounds like July already, and that's what we're going to be dealing with for the weekend. Now, Monday of next week, the next big increase in the chance for scattered storms across our region, and some of those could be severe. So giving you the first alert there for something that we're watching for Monday of next week. So there you have it. That's what's happening. We're going to try to do more of these updates here for all of my followers on YouTube. And we have, of course, a First Alert weather app and WBRC Fox 6 News you can stream. And if you're tuning in from outside of the state, just to let you know, we have a 30-minute weather show that can be seen on streaming platforms, our WBRC YouTube channel. We're working on, we have a lot of guests on there. It's a great show. It's all about weather. It's a 30-minute show called First Alert Weather Extra. That streams at 6:30 weeknights, so you can catch that on our streaming channel. So check back in right here for more updates, and have a great evening.